Hey guys, this is Nick, and today's video is starting out much different than I had anticipated. Today was supposed to be the day of getting the head unit and the sound system right, going to the junkyard and starting to fab up my own angle kit for the car. And last night I finally got around to reading the check engine light code. The only code that I got that wasn't emissions related was the mass airflow sensor, and it's possible there's a vacuum leak or a leak after it, or the plug's messed up. So I was just in the engine bay looking around trying to figure out if there's anything obvious, and I heard a tapping, knocking sound that I've never heard before, and I believe that it is coming from the driver's side valve cover, something in the head, hopefully. There's no reason for it to be rod bearing. Since putting this engine in the car, it's ran absolutely perfect. It's got good compression. The oil has not leaked a single bit. It's always been at the full mark. I haven't even added oil once since I put the oil and filter on. So I'm about to cold start it, and we're gonna hear what that sounds like, and then I'm gonna drive this thing 30 minutes over to my shop, and we're gonna get to it. Running decent. I don't hear it. There's definitely a problem. It's definitely gonna make the noise once it's hot, most likely, but I don't hear it right now. Let me let it warm up for a minute. My last car is a 96. This one's a 97, and in 97 they added a rear windshield defroster. So now we're in business. That's good enough. So we're at the shop. There it is. All right, so here's what I'm thinking. The noise is completely gone when it's cold, and it comes back as it gets hotter. Let's start from the top of the engine down, talk about all the different scenarios. So if it's the lash adjusters, normally you hear those whenever it's cold, and then the sound goes away when they're warm. However, if the problem is it's not getting enough oil pressure for whatever reason, the additional oil pressure from the cold start, the cold oil's thicker, it makes more pressure. That additional pressure will stiffen it up and allow it to do its job properly. Could be possible that a follower is not sitting on it correctly, may have slid over, popped off some or something, who knows. Another problem that's common with these B heads is for the valve guides to break or crack, especially with this mileage, or the exhaust seats to have a problem with them themselves. The machine shop that took care of these heads is the same machine shop that built the bottom end that I ended up not using because they messed it up so badly. I did not know that the bottom end was messed up until after I got the heads back, so I don't have much faith that the guides have been properly gone through. I believe they told me they replaced 2 of them. I have the paperwork, I'll find it, but it's possible that that is a scenario, but I do have a solution to break it down to figure out if that's it or not. Here is another likely scenario. Main bearings really don't fail too commonly. You really have to get a lot of trash through them to get them to start knocking, but it is pretty likely that it could be a rod bearing. Doesn't take nearly as much trash. They go through a lot more stress, and here's the big problem is that I have not changed the oil in this car since the first start. I've probably put 75 miles on it or so since that first start. Ideally, I should have started it, ran it for 30 minutes, and then just changed it out immediately after to make sure that there's no trash in that oil. However, everything went so smoothly, and a couple people that I trust told me it would be a good idea to let the engine break in with that oil, give it some more time, and then flush it out. They actually told me like 500 miles or so. I didn't really want to do that, but I ended up doing that. So I hope that that's not the scenario. I hope it's not a rod bearing, because it wouldn't be ideal to just replace the rod bearing, because if you get a rod to the point where the bearing needs to be replaced, it's probably not going to be true anymore, and it's also probably going to have some heat marks on it, which is going to weaken the material, and it'd be best to just throw a new rod in it. And once you get to the point of replacing rods and bearings and all that, you might as well do more work. So I'm going to try to keep it simple as possible, but the game plan at the moment is to compression test it. If it's a bad guide or it's a bad valve seat and the valves aren't closing all the way for some odd reason, then that'll let me know which cylinder it's happening on at least. If it's a lash adjuster or if it's a follower, something in the head along those lines, it will have no effect on compression whatsoever, and that would be a good thing to get all good compression. I'm going to make sure to do the compression test hot instead of cold, because it doesn't make the noise. It doesn't have a problem when it's cold, only when it's hot. So I'm going to make sure that it's hot. After the compression test, I'll drain out the oil. If it is a rod bearing, there's going to be a lot of metal in the oil, and that's going to be a pretty telltale sign right off the bat. So let's get to it. So the compression test came back good. Lowest reading I got was 150, highest was 170. That's about a 14% difference between those two numbers, and typically you're looking to keep it below a 15% deviation. I'm happy with all of that. I'm just looking for something that's showing me that a valve's not closing all the way or there's damage done to a piston. That would give me a reading of like 50 PSI or 0 PSI. So I'm happy with those numbers, and then from here, we're gonna drain the oil. I'm scared. And just so that this isn't even a question, that's the oil level right there, a little bit past the max mark, and I have not added oil to this engine ever since the first start. So I did not run it low. I'm scared. That's more metal than I would like to see on this. See how the oil looks. Something tells me that this isn't gonna end well. Oh yeah. Come on, we gotta get over this crack. Gotta get over that crack, come on. Trying to keep it consistent, but the problem is that these wheels are a little flat spotted. We're almost there, we're going to the light. Going to the light. Oh yeah. All right, we made it. So I talked to my landlord more about what he thought about the oil, and he's not concerned with what was in the oil because it all looks like silver, metal on metal contact, normal wear. And he's looking for bearing material, which is copper. It would look more gold in the oil, didn't really see much of that at all. Whenever the car originally had rod knock, it was very slow paced at idle, and it was a very loud thud that you could definitely tell that it was from the bottom end. This is spinning so fast that it makes me believe it's in the head, because the head's spinning faster than what the bottom end is. It's like twice the speed, which would make sense. So hopefully it's a lash adjuster. I have 32 of them to swap out, but at this point I'm honestly not too scared of the oil because of Brandon, and I'm gonna have to remove the master cylinder over on the driver's side in order to get the valve cover off. So we're gonna get on that now. All right, so this third bolt is the hardest to get to. This little piece right here, this plastic piece, it just pops onto your brake pedal. This is what actuates your lights. I just popped it off, rotated it up out the way, and now I got a 13 mil ratchet wrench on the bolt. I'm not really gonna be able to illuminate the position of it, but you get the idea. Hold up 1 second, just make sure nothing's in the engine. All right, do it. Stop. I found it. There's two reasons that it could be loose. One, it's a brand new part, could just be low quality, already wore it out, not designed for the stuff I'm doing with it. Two, it could be the oil passage to that tensioner is blocked. there could be metal shavings in there or anything. It's a very small passage, and it is likely that it is blocked. So I have another tensioner. I have the tensioners that came on this car. I could throw one of those in there, but ideally I would be happier to find a blocked passage and reuse that one, or find a brand new one or something. But either way, there's nothing I can do about this with the timing cover on. So we're about to get to it. We about to get to it. So we got the engine torn down, got the timing cover off, and we noticed that there was a lot of slack in the chain. We have since removed the timing tensioner, so there wasn't that little slack. But once we got the timing cover off, we noticed that the chain did not have any slack in it, and we rolled the chain over, and what we found is that there's a tight spot on the chain, and when it was wrapped around the sprocket, it did a good job of tensioning it, and then once that tight spot was gone, it would loosen up again. So we took the caliper and we measured the length of 6 chains, and we actually found out that it's about 30 thousandths of an inch longer than what it's supposed to be, based off the chain that is not loose and based off of the original chains that came out of the car. The tensioner that came out of the car just now is on the left, and the original timing adjuster with 140,000 miles on it is on the right. And as you can see, the ratchet is pretty much right at the same height. We measured that with a caliper as well, and the piston is pushed up right to about the same length. There's a good bit of resistance in it, and there was plenty of oil allowed into the back of it. Whenever we took this off, it just dumped oil all over the floor. We sprayed air through it. It came out where it's supposed to. There's no signs of any leaks, and there's nothing that makes me think that this timing adjuster is bad. So what we believe happened is just the prolonged use of the chain under the hard tension, and not being an OEM Ford chain, it just stretched out a couple links of it, and we're pretty confident that the chain stretched, and then obviously as it's slapping around, it's going to stretch out more. However, we don't believe that the timing chain adjuster is to blame, and most likely I'm going to be reinstalling all of my OEM stuff just so I can get the car back on the road ASAP and not worry about putting a new timing chain kit in it, because once the 5.0 motor goes in, I would want to replace that stuff anyways, so I think that would be a better time to wait for it. Alright guys, it's the next day, and it's an exciting day. I got a bunch of front end work done on my landlord's Terminator yesterday. Got him a new ball joint, tie rod ends, and sway bar bushings. Austin's been making some good progress on his supercharged Grand Prix swap. I ordered 2 brand new timing chains and tensioners for the Mustang. I used the Cloys kit originally, and now I'm using Melling chains and tensioners, and I believe that everything else should be good. So I'm gonna try to get that swapped on and have the car running tonight. I gotta throw some new rear brake pads and rotors on the Terminator, as well as install a new door hinge. And then after that, I'm on the way to go pick up an LS swapped Mazda Miata that is a drift car and needs some custom fabrication done. So we're gonna get started on that as well.
Papacito.
Good.
Put in that work. What all was changed with that?
We replaced the ball joint on the passenger side. Driver's side felt super tight, so we didn't mess with it.
Yeah.
And then we removed the 2 bump steer kits that were installed, which replaces the outer tie rods, and it's meant to lower the suspension geometry some. And after talking with a lot of suspension people, they actually said that they're not beneficial at all, and that they're not as reliable. So we put 2 OEM outer tie rods in as well, and I believe that that's what made the most of a difference with the steering.
Yeah, is that going back to the OEM Ford
For sure,
quality?
and they were worn out too.
Yeah.
Whoa, Black Betty, amber lamps.
Whoa, little bitty.
It's still not warm, so it's crazy. That MGW is money. I had dinner there last night for the first time, and it slapped. I got a burger that had peanut butter and pepper jelly on it with bacon, pepper jack cheese, jalapenos. Honestly, it wasn't as good as I thought that it might have been, but
Hey, I put that sign up. That's my fucking sign.
That's his
my
sign.
sign, bitches.
His sign.
That's my don't touch my sign.
You see that sign right there? That's
Yeah.
my
You
sign.
see that sign right there? It's
That's
mine. Whoa.
It was a good film.
It was a good. It was a good
It's
film.
definitely the type of place you go with a date.
Oh, I won't be there.
I was gonna say, well, yep.
Yeah, that cues me out. Jesus.
Bro, look at homie on a bike. Yes, sir. Get right. Get right, big man.
Get that bread.
All right, it's 5:40. Just picked up the trailer. About to run to my house and pick up some parts that I need to get the Cobra running tonight. And then I'm driving out to go pick up Zach's LS swapped Miata. Yes, sir. You just bust ass on that shit.
That's slippery. That is slippery.
I saw you in my rear view jump up on it. And that's.
He coming to get my little dookie box. Let's see how good he is in backing the trailer up. Let's see. Okay. You know what he doing. That boy know a little something. Now he need to, yep, there you go. That boy, look at it, you know a little something. Let me show you what's going on inside. Them AFM lifters. Got to disable them.
All right, we got it all loaded up on the trailer. Zach broke a connector on his truck while he was working on it, so we're about to run to AutoZone and get right.
Oh yeah.
Got this. Oh yeah. Oh. Pop that hood.
I ain't know how to pop hood on goddamn Miata.
But you're gonna have to learn.
I know.
Man's gonna be getting his own very soon. Yes, sir. Hell yeah. That's badass. I can't wait to see this thing.
Dude, honestly,
All in
it's
ass.
not even that crammed in there.
No, it's honestly, I mean, look at the headers. Like, you got good
You
access
got
to work on them.
clearance. I mean, it ain't
Yeah.
like the.
All right, so this is how we get her up on the lift with it not running. So first off, the front lip is so low that I can't get any of these jacks underneath it. So I have to jack the K member, which I can luckily reach somehow through here. So we're gonna go boom. Oh, make sure to watch the side skirt. Don't need to be cracking those. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. All right, then we're gonna take a 2x4. Nope. Nope. Oh. That little jack almost maxed out now. Now we're gonna drop it on the 2x4. And now we gotta do that again on the other side. So now that we got it on both sides, now I can fit the jack under the lip. And now we can jack it up from the K-member in order to get the mount points underneath the car. This is the fun part right here. We're pumping it. Pumping. All right, guys, it's been about 5 minutes. Thornton laughs like I'm joking.
You should.
Oh,
I don't know how far you're going up underneath it, but you should clear
that's
there.
about it. Oh yeah. So first one does it right there, boys. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Overshot that by about 3 feet.
Oh shit, for real?
Yeah. That was your job to tell me when to stop.
Hey.
You were out here talking about getting some road ahead. Damn.
More the better.
That's facts. I'm not into it. So now I'm realizing that I made the mistake of not kicking the arms under before getting the front ones on. So now I'm gonna have to jack the rear end up high enough to where I can work. Never mind. All right, so forget about that. Either way, I still have to jack up the rear end of the car in order to be able to add the extension to the lift so that I don't bust out my side skirts. Take a look at all that rubber right there. That's some stuff. I like that. It's all on up in the wheel well. That tire's looking mint, bro. We just pulled up off the lot with that thing. Off the lot! All right. I'm gonna pump for about 5 minutes. Like you're working on a shake weight. Ooh, ah, yeah, ooh. All right, now I'm about to get this all sized up and we're gonna realize that it doesn't fit. That'll be the second time today. Oh yeah, we're not even in the ballpark though, yeah. At least I wasn't lying. I ain't got enough KY for all that now. We're gonna slide it on back one time, one hop this time. Ooh. All right, so let's see what $60 in overnight shipping has provided us with.
Probably the wrong shit.
Rock Auto is already on. Now, Rock Auto don't be doing all that now. Boom! Boom! Bang! All right.
Ooh, gotta love a good magnet.
Put that on the refrigerator. This ain't no good magnet.
You know your refrigerator ain't magnetic.
What is this? Oh yeah, it's stainless.
The side of it's magnetic.
Yeah, they assumed I had a broke boy refrigerator. There we go. All right, Melgear. I bet that these are chains and that this is a guy. All right. Oh yeah, that's the guide right there. Wow. Nice and pretty. All right. Dudes went crazy with the glue. Crazy glue, yes sir. Yes sir. So you know what we need to do with these bad boys?
Take a couple links out.
We need to drown them in oil. So Brandon taught me that before you install timing chains, that you want to lubricate them and let them bask in oil so that they can be properly lubricated during the first start and help extend the life of them. That is not something that I did the first time, and I don't believe that that is why they failed prematurely. However, I am going to do it this time. It would be best if I could let them soak for like an hour or two at the minimum. 20 minutes will be better than nothing. Oh, that's satisfying right there. This is like pouring maple syrup on some pancakes. Oh yeah. There's no point in me going over them like this because I'm just gonna fill it till it's all underwater, but it's just super satisfying. Nick has a lot of experience opening up boxes. And I ain't talking about cardboard. That's a good one.
My dog hates that stuff, dude. I pop one, she freaks out.
Oh, Yahtzee! Huh. At least the pin ate that. that was good. That was good. I wonder if this should potentially be submersion oil. Hold up. Oh, is this left side? Yeah, that is left side. What is this?
Gasket of some kind?
Is that a gasket?
I ain't got a clue. I don't even know what I'm looking at.
OEM didn't come with a gasket. And the Cloys didn't come with a gasket. Adapter plate. This part is supplied with an adapter plate for pre-1996 engines to properly mount the chain tensioner. The adapter plate is not needed. All right.
Piece of junk.
That's good to know.
See, Ford may have done one thing right. They put the timing on the front side of the motor instead of the Audi that is on the back side of the motor.
Yeah, Audi was tripping when they thought of that. They said, how can we make sure our dealerships are getting paid? And
They did.
Boom, I got it.